Hello everyone, welcome to Malleus Gaming. I'm your host Malleus, and today I'll be doing a quick review on Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, and whether or not it's worth playing in 2023, now that it's reached its 1 year anniversary. Right, let's get to it, but before we do, say it with me brothers, for the Emperor! So for those of you who don't know, Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, as its name would suggest, is set in Games Workshop's Warhammer 40,000 universe. This is a dark and gritty sci-fi setting where the galaxy-spanning Imperium of Man is beset on all sides from all manner of foes, be they hordes of alien monstrosities, foul mutants, base traitors, or the demonic horrors of the insidious forces of chaos. The armies of humanity are forced to constantly wage war in the name of the God Emperor, just to survive. For in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is only war. And that's where you come in. Darktide is an action-packed co-op multiplayer shooter, and the latest game from the studio Fatshark, makers of the popular Vermintide games set in Games Workshop's Warhammer Fantasy universe. In Darktide, you play as a reject, a former prisoner who was conscripted into the armed forces of one Inquisitor Grendel, who seeks to eliminate the chaos-aligned traitor and heretic forces of the hive city of Tertium. You can pick your character from 4 different classes, all of whom bring different weapons, abilities, and playstyles to the table. For a more traditional shooter role, you can go with the Veteran class. The Veteran is a former soldier of the Imperial Guard, and is highly adept with numerous weapons, including las rifles, autoguns, shotguns, pistols, and even more advanced weapons such as bolters and plasma guns. If you fancy a more aggressive playstyle though, you can choose the Zealot, a religious preacher with a penchant for massive, two-handed chain-bladed eviscerators, powerful thunderhammers, and crowd-clearing flamethrowers. For all you big, wrinkly-brained individuals with a desire for unlimited power, you can choose the Psyker, a human who can tap into the dark energy of the warp and unleash numerous psychic abilities upon your foes. You can explode an enemy's brain with your thoughts, smite groups of foes with lightning from your fingertips, and conjure telekinetic force fields to protect you and your allies. All this warp power can come with a price though, so be sure to not overload yourself and explode your own brain. Last, but certainly not least, if you like being big, tough, and dumb, then the Ogryn is the class for you. This giant slab of meat may not be the sharpest crayon in the box. In fact, he probably ate all the crayons and the box. But he can lug around heavy weapons like grenade launchers and machine guns and can absolutely tear things up in melee. The Ogryn is easily the tankiest and most brutal melee combatant, and is great for drawing the attention of a filthy hordes of heretics, letting your teammates mow them down. Plus, he can throw a rock. Like a big rock. Ogryn smash! Gameplay-wise, you and your squad are inserted into various missions with different objectives, such as purging demonic corruption from the Hive City's water supply, stealing supplies and ammo from the traitors, downloading critical data links, or assassinating high-ranking traitor commanders. You'll have to fight your way through the levels, encountering isolated pockets of enemies, wandering patrols, vast hordes, or monstrous mini-bosses. The level and art design is amazing in this game, as is the music. Cutting your way through an enemy horde with a chainsaw while this music is blasting never gets old. Once you've completed the mission, you'll be rewarded with experience, in-game currency, and some equipment, like a new weapon. Depending on if you find them during the mission as well, you'll find yourself gaining crafting resources, which can be used to improve your gear. Now, at its core, the overall gameplay loop hasn't changed from Darktide's initial release. This in itself is absolutely fine, because the core gameplay of Darktide is and always was really great. The combat is incredibly satisfying, the gunplay feels great, and the melee combat is visceral. You really feel every blow as you rip and tear your way through the Chaos Hordes. I'm a huge Warhammer 40k fan, and the attention to detail that the developers have for the game is clear. The atmosphere is spot on, the weapons feel like how their tabletop counterparts would work, and the enemies are fun to fight. The AI game director also really helps to keep you on your toes, at times punishing you for wandering off from your allies, but also giving you time to breathe between waves. However, the problem I had with Darktide when it was initially released was that there just wasn't a whole lot to do in the end. At the time, you would level up your character to a max level of 30 and you could pick from a handful of perks for your quote-unquote build. The problem was that there really wasn't much in the way of choice, so you'd really just pick one set of perks and that'd be it. Then you would just play missions hoping to get a better version of your existing weapon as a reward. Customization was pretty much limited to the real-life currency cosmetic store, which I'm not going to go into as I have nothing good to say about that part of the game at all. I won't hold too much of that against it though, as you don't have to engage with it, and really that's just an industry-wide problem as a whole. 1 year later though, and Darktide has seen some great improvements. While you still max out at level 30, Fatshark has added a ton of new perks which you can choose from. I've currently only maxed out my veteran, but I've really enjoyed playing around with different builds now. For instance, you could go with a close-range grenadier build, blasting away with a shotgun and blowing up heavily armored enemies with crack grenades. That is personally my favorite build at the moment. Or you can pull off a long-range sniper build, stealthing around with smoke grenades and taking out tougher enemies from afar with a las rifle. A third option could be a mainline shock trooper build, where you buff your allies with aura support and turn your foes into chunky salsa with a bolter or a plasma gun. With that said, with the current Traitor Curse anniversary update, there have been some complaints about changes made to the veteran skill tree, but the numerous perks and their strengths deserve a deep dive video of its own. Additional changes to the game have been new missions, new maps, and new enemies like the fan-favorite Chaos Spawn, and the horrific Demon Host. Like, legit, this thing is terrifying. The first time I ever encountered one, it killed 2 of my squad, and left my remaining teammate literally cowering in the corner screaming, "Oh god, what was that?" As for customization, you can now change your character's appearance and purchase different skins and weapons using in-game currency at the various shops. Speaking of weapons, you can upgrade your gear now, granting them different perks and refining their strengths at the Shrine of the Omnissiah. While I personally feel this process can be a little convoluted, it's still better than the nothing we had before, and can let you really fine-tune that favorite gun of yours. Overall, I would say Darktide has really benefited from the past year's worth of updates. When it came out last year, I was super hyped to play it, but quickly grew bored as it really didn't have a whole lot to offer once you got past the initial character leveling. Now, however, there's a lot more variety to be had, and I am personally finding it really enjoyable playing out different builds with my veteran. It's felt pretty rewarding hunting down that perfect gun for the various roles, such as finding a powerful Lawbringer combat shotgun to bring handy for close encounters, or a Lucius patterned Hellbore lasgun for sniping purposes. The new missions and enemies too have been fantastic additions, and I'm really looking forward to building additional characters and seeing what builds I can make with them. Ogren Rock build? When? So, too long, didn't watch? Is Darktide worth playing in 2023? Yes. Yes, it is. Now get in there, rejects! For the Imperium! For the Emperor! Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed my review of Darktide, please leave a like and subscribe to help get this video and my channel out there in the warp-touched tides of YouTube. Let me know your thoughts on the game, and any things in particular that you really enjoy about it, or that you may have critiques on, down below in the comments. Also, if you'd like to see more Darktide content, please let me know. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!